Record. All right, now I'm recording, and I got the thing open, and you guys are in there, and I don't think anybody's sitting in the waiting room. Okay, so now when you look at this, here's the cells. Okay, so this is the space here, and so it's lining this tube, right? And these cells are cubes. So they're little squares. So that's simple cuboidal. There's only one layer of them. So now if you look,
one layer.
just one
Cubado.
layer.
For Cubado is one layer.
Yep. Simple, no, simple is one layer.
Multiple layer. Multiple.
It's just one, right? Stratified
Yeah, stratified.
is more than one layer.
Yeah.
Okay, and then cuboidal has cube in it, and cubes are square. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Sometimes I see so many layers and they say simple.
Yep. So if it's got more than one layer, it's stratified. So let's see. Let me show you.
This one, yeah, something like that.
Yeah, let me show you a stratified. So a stratified, like look at this one. Oh, it doesn't look okay. So when you look at this one, you have multiple layers, a whole bunch of layers of cells. And that's stratified. Because you have a whole, it's not just one layer of cells, it's a whole bunch of layers of cells. So like you have cells like this, and then underneath of it, you have more layers. So that means it's stratified. And they're flat cells. So the flat cells are the squamous cells. Yeah. Okay, so let's look. Let me show you. I'm not giving you anything like that. I'm not giving you anything like that. I'm not giving you.
Hello?
I know. Look at, make sure you understand the cube one. Okay, so make sure you get that one, the cuboidal. Make sure you understand, you can recognize the stratified squamous. Make sure you're okay with this one. Okay, then let's look at muscle. Let's see. Where's muscle? Okay, connective tissue. Okay, so let's look at connective. So when you're looking at connective tissue, what you're doing is you're looking at the cells and you're looking at what's in between the cells. So this one has fibers in between it, and then it's got these cells in between it. Okay, so it's got collagen fibers and elastic fibers, and then it's got these little cells that are called fibroblasts. Okay, so this is areolar tissue. So it looks kind of airy, like there's lots of space in it. Okay, so there's areolar, and that's connective. Fat just looks kind of fluffy. So this is adipose. So the cells are just kind of, I always think they look fluffy like fat does when you have like belly fat or something. It looks just kind of empty, right? But it's actually full of lipids. So there's fat or adipose, and that's a type of connective tissue. Don't worry about that one. 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 Are you still there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear
Yeah.
me? I don't want to make so much noise. I put it on mute.
Oh, okay. That's cool. Okay. So make sure you know bone. I'm giving you some big hints here.
Yeah,
Okay.
this one is
Yeah,
difficult to know. What that is that? Where is the line? I
that's
can't see the line.
that's bone. So
That is
think
bone.
that is bone. So think about when you cut a tree. If somebody cuts a tree,
Uh-huh.
it looks like a tree trunk, and that's connective, right? That's
Mhm.
connective tissue. So you need to know it's connective, and you need to be able to recognize that's what bone looks like. It's just a whole bunch of circles.
Or bone is for connective tip. Oh, is a support. Connective tissue is
Yeah.
support.
Yep.
Support bone, support. Okay, I got that.
Yep. And I don't even expect you to know that it's supporting. I'm just happy that you know connective.
Yeah, it's support your muscle for exercising.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay, so there's bone. Now, blood. Okay, blood just looks like, see the blood cells? So blood is considered connective too.
How?
How? Because I know it doesn't really connect anything, but it's throughout your body. So it's everywhere.
Okay.
So they consider it connective. I don't know how they decided that. But
Blood is look like a cell, but when you bleeding, it look like a liquid.
yes. So if you took the liquid and you put it on a slide and you looked at it with the microscope and if you stained it, this is what you would see. You would see that it's all sorts of cells. Yep. So the cells are what's making up the liquid. So that's blood. So put a star by blood, no blood. And then muscle, right? There's actually 3 kinds of muscle. So one is hooked to the bone. One is in your heart. And then one is in your intestines, in your stomach. So we have a skeletal muscle, which is voluntary. So whenever you're thinking about moving, okay, that's skeletal muscle. Cardiac is what's in your heart, so you don't have to think about it. But then smooth muscle is involuntary too. So you don't
That's
have
for heart muscle.
the heart muscle. So here's what it looks like. Okay, so if you looked at a picture of it, it is yeah, if you could go in and you would cut somebody a piece of a heart off and you would put it on a slide, you're going to see something that kind of looks like this, which is it looks kind of boring, right? But the idea is it's got all these little striations on it. So it's got all these lines going up and down. And then it's got these big lines. Okay, and those big lines, they're called intercalated discs. And then here's the nucleus of the cell. And the cells are branched. So the cells kind of divide. So that's heart muscle. Now, if you look at plain old skeletal muscle, it just looks very plain, right? So it has
Show me
these
a picture
lines
of
in
a
it.
skeletal muscle.
Hmm.
Please show me a picture of a skeletal
Yeah,
muscle.
can you
Oh, this
see
is
it
a
now?
skeletal muscle. It looks
That's
like a heart muscle.
like a what? A heart? You think it
Yeah, it
does?
does look like a cardiac muscle.
I
Because
know.
the cell layer on outside.
Yeah, but this is this. You know what it looks like to me is a piece of fish, like a piece of salmon in the market.
Yes, it does look like that.
So all those lines. So that's what
I
that's.
mean, to making for me to be able to know which one is this, which one is that.
Eventually, it's
Different.
not going to be, but right now we make you learn it.
Did you
So
send a picture on the test? You show which one is a cardiac muscle. I have to show you which one is cardiac muscle, which one is a.
I I try. I only have for the tissues. I think I have 6 questions of pictures. So I tried to pick the big ones, the obvious ones.
Okay.
that I'm trying to tell you like right now that I'm saying putting a star by them.
Uh-huh.
So it's only a small part of it.
Okay.
I tried not to, because I know everybody struggles with this part.
Yeah, it look the same. They look the
Yeah.
same.
Yep. Everybody struggles with this part. This is one of the hardest
I'm
parts.
trying to say which one is this, which one is that. When I look at some now, I know which one is strategy tissue because it's got so many lines,
Yes.
and the
Yep.
only one has only one line sample,
Right.
and the one that has a bone on it is this musculature
Yep.
skeletal tissue.
So you're okay. You'll be all right. And
Yeah.
nerve looks like this. Nerve is pretty
Yeah, I
long.
know the nerve head to toe, dendril, and
Yep.
the nucleus in the middle, cell body around the dendril,
So you're fine with the
axon,
nerve.
axon heel, axon transfer the sanyo.
So you guys, you have the nerve down because I made you made you
Yeah,
practice
I
the
got the
nerve.
nerve in my brain, but when I'm in the test, oh my God.
I might have put
I
one
like
of
the
those.
way you teach in the videos. It helped me a lot understanding.
I know, but then I have to ask you test questions, right?
Yes,
I know.
you
It's
do.
hard.
That's why when I did my nursing first time, I never passed for NCLEX.
Oh,
You notice the thing head to toes, and when you go to to test, it's stressful.
so you did you do LPN or RN?
I did both. I
Okay.
got my associate degree on RN.
Oh, you did?
Doesn't mean anything. Since 2009,
Oh,
I take the test more than 17 times. I did not pass. I said, let me go back again.
oh no.
Yeah, I lose all that money. I
Oh,
even pay $7,000 for a refresher course, someone to help me teach, a nurse.
mm-hmm.
I did not get it.
Oh
Yeah, some people said they don't know why I don't leave that alone.
no.
I'm not leaving, I'm not giving up because it's $35 an hour.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. I know, but you have to deal with sick people. I don't like sick
Yeah,
people.
you have to deal with sick people, you know it. I figured out people who pass the exam is not like they know better than you because my sister get hers. He said I study more than her.
Yeah, it depends
She
on
said she don't know how she passed and I keep failing because she don't stress herself like I do.
well, everybody learns different and everybody takes tests different.
Yeah, somebody take it different for sure. Some
Yeah.
people very smart on taking tests. They don't have to know a whole lot to pass the test.
Some people are just good at that part. All right. So
Mm-hmm.
what other questions? What other questions?
Smart is it? Add fair fiber and then
Okay. Somebody asked me to she can't be here. And she asked me to try to on the nervous system, on the spinal cord. So I'm gonna she asked about these Rami, and I can't ever say it right. The communicating ramus, Rami communicantes. So the idea behind these, okay, so if this is your spinal cord, right, and things are coming in and out of it, and here's the spinal nerve, okay, and here's the spinal cord. So here's like the gray matter in it. All right, the ramus, the communicating rami, or the ramus communicantes, what they do is if this is coming out like this and this is the hole, these come out and they're extensions off of the spinal nerve. And what they're going to do is they're on both sides and they're going to hook up to the sympathetic chain. So if you looked at a body that's laying flat, and this is the spinal cord, and these are the spinal nerves coming off, the sympathetic chain runs alongside it, both sides, and the spinal nerves are coming off like this. These are gonna, the sympathetic, the communicating rami are gonna come off, and they're gonna bond, attach to the sympathetic trunk. So they're coming off all over the place and hook into it. So it's kind of like it's how we get from the spinal cord to the sympathetic nervous system. So that's for Christina. She emailed me and asked me to try to explain that. So, and it's on page 555 in the book.
When is gonna be the next? We have to take another exam again.
Of course we do. Of course
From the
we have
park track.
we have to do, okay, so, are you still there?
I'm here.
Okay, so we have to do another exam, and I don't know when it'll be. Okay, so we're doing the lab exam. Then we have to do, right now this week is the senses, so the eye and the ear, right? So we'll do, so the next test will be chapter 13, chapter 14, chapter 15, and chapter 16. So,
The spinal.
so we'll do another exam, and then we'll have the final. So we'll have another exam probably close to Thanksgiving, because we need to do the rest of the nervous system. I need to give you a test on that, so it doesn't have that much information. And then we do bone,
Okay.
and skin and muscle.
The next exam is a nervous system.
Yeah, but it'll be like the brain and the brain, the spinal cord, the autonomic nervous system, like parasympathetic and sympathetic, and then the senses.
Okay.
So it'll probably be not next week, but the week after that. So before Thanksgiving.
Okay.
And then the last test is bone and muscle and skin, which is not much.
It's not hard.
Bone, muscle, and skin is the easiest.
Yeah, it is.
That's the easiest. You guys have done the hard stuff with the nervous and the endocrine first. I don't know if that makes you feel any better, but
I hope I make it at least B.
we just need to get through it. I'm feeling like you guys are.
Steady.
We're getting there.
Yeah. Do you get enough time? Is unlimited time?
For what?
For the exam in the computer, is unlimited?
No. No.
I thought that was unlimited. Last class I was taking some classes unlimited when you go to the center.
Really? No.
Yeah, they say you can come in the center, you spend all day. As long you at the center is unlimited.
Really? No. No. Maybe I, but not this one. No. I know, I'm mean. I guess I'm not mean, but not unlimited. I don't want you guys sitting in there all day. That's nuts. Kirsten, do you have any questions?
Yes, I do.
Yes, you do. Okay.
The first thing is, can you go over the motor neurons in the sympathetic or in the somatic nervous system versus the autonomic?
The motor neurons?
Yes, about how there's one lower motor neuron in the somatic and there's two
in the other.
Yeah.
Yeah, do I have that in that's in that autonomic nervous system
Yes.
notes. Let me find my autonomic nervous system notes. All right, so
I feel like this chapter has been the hardest chapter so far.
the autonomic,
Yes.
and okay. Why?
For me, it's just a lot of information.
Okay. All right. There it is. I guess there is a lot of information. Okay. So you understand the difference that we have somatic nervous system, and somatic is the one that you're thinking about, right? And I always just think it's going to your body. So it's skeletal muscle. Okay, and then when we get to autonomic is the stuff that we're not thinking about, right? So it's happening automatically. Okay, now when they divide them up and they look at them, okay, with the somatic nervous system, okay, it just takes one, they call it a lower motor neuron, okay, because it's below your brain and your spinal cord, and it's going to go to the muscle. Okay, so there's just one going that way. So it's kind of more like a direct connection, right? There's only one fiber going there. Okay, now if you look at the autonomic nervous system, the autonomic nervous system is not, it's more kind of divergent. So we're not just going from one place straight to the other place. Sometimes we have information that goes broader. So we have more than one neuron to get there. So the first one, I know, and this is kind of, the names get me because I don't know that, oh well, this is why they have them named. So the first one they call preganglionic, right? So the preganglionic starts at the brainstem or starts at your spinal cord, and then it's going to go out. Okay, then the second one is, they call it ganglionic, or we used to always call it postganglionic, but they're changing it to ganglionic. Okay, so that one goes from the ganglion. Okay, so if this is your spinal cord, okay, and here's the ganglion, which is just the where they intersect or where they meet. Okay, so the first one's going to come out to here, right? And then the second one is going to go from here to wherever it's going to affect. So the heart, the smooth muscle, or the gland. So if you had at the same time, you're going to have a somatic one coming out, and the somatic is just going to go whoop, and it's going to go straight to where it's going to cause the change to occur to the skeletal muscle. Does that make any sense?
I think what was throwing me off, which I think you just clarified, was that I kept reading it was preganglionic to a ganglion and then to a postganglionic. Like I thought it was three different.
Yeah, nope, it's just two. So the ganglion is here, and that's just kind of like the intersection where they meet.
Okay.
So, but the ganglion is going to be part of this one.
Okay. That makes a lot more sense now.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that they're named weird, right? Because like it's just kind of, to me, it seems like they could have came up with a better way to name them. But oh well. So here's a picture that's better than the one I just drew, right? So the ganglion is just where they intersect. Okay, so the postganglionic one has the cell body, and that's what makes the bump. Okay, that's what makes the intersection. So if you were dissecting nerves, this would look a little bit different than this would. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
That cleared up everything for me.
Okay, cool.
I'm trying to look through. Oh, can you go over um, the sympathetic nervous system part where
Yeah.
it switches, just because it's so much more complicated than the parasympathetic.
Yeah. Okay. So which part? So the sympathetic, right? So if we go to this slide, okay, so you know the basics, or the basics are that, okay, it's coming from the thoracic and the lumbar part of the spinal cord, right? I'm not too worried that I mean, this kind of sums this up. All right. And then the idea behind the sympathetic, okay, this is a good way to look at it. Maybe instead of the information coming out of the spinal cord and going straight to the effector, straight to what's going to cause the change, there's like 3 different routes that it can actually take. Actually, I think they have 4 now. They've changed it. There's 4. Okay, so if we are doing parasympathetic, right? Parasympathetic has this short little, wait a minute, it has a long preganglionic axon, and then it's got a short one so it goes straight to the effector, and then it causes the change to occur. Okay, sympathetic, the preganglionic one is short. Okay, so it doesn't go very far, and then the information can spread. Okay, so the information can go up and down the sympathetic trunk. It can go out. It can go to all these different places. So let's see. Here's the idea. Okay, so if we go here, there's para. Okay, there's this. Isn't this lovely? Okay, so for sympathetic, I guess if you go back and you think about why we have the sympathetic nervous system, it helps maybe helps it make sense maybe. Okay, so the sympathetic trunk is our fight or flight. So the idea behind it is that it's going to turn everything on or everything off, the opposite stuff off, so that you can get away and you can survive. So the best way to get information out to all the parts of your body quickly so that you can be saved so you can save yourself from whatever, is to have multiple systems and ways to send the information out. So you don't just want to send one nerve to the heart and then another nerve to the brain and another nerve to a leg muscle and maybe another nerve to your stomach. Like, that's not the most efficient way to get all the information out. So the ways that we can get the information out faster is by having this like layered system to try to get stuff out to all the different places at one time, so you can react as fast as you can to save yourself. Okay, now this looks super complex when you look at all of it, and I don't make you guys memorize all of it. But the idea is, okay, everything's coming from here, right? It's coming from the thoracic and the lumbar region. Okay, it's going to go to the sympathetic trunk. And the sympathetic trunk is kind of like an elevator. It can go take information up and down. Okay, information can also go through the sympathetic trunk and through the spinal nerve and go straight to where it does cause a change. There are also all these other little like junctures where it can go. And I'm not worried that you memorize those junctures. It can also go to the adrenal medulla, okay? And that's going to cause something else to occur. And where else? I'm probably missing something. Here, we'll go through the list to make sure I didn't miss anything. So if we go here, Okay, so this is the idea. This is what she was asking about. So the communicating rami, okay, what they're going to do is they're going to take information in and out of the sympathetic trunk from the spinal cord. Okay, so it's like the on and off ramp. All right, so here's the sympathetic pathways. All right, so if we go here. So sympathetic pathways, so they're saying one of 4 ways. So one way it can go out is just the spinal nerves. Okay, so that's the normal way. So it'd be like a somatic. Okay, so just going out and it's going to where it's going to make a change occur. So that's one. Okay, so it just comes out, and this just looks very hard to understand, but it just comes out and it has to loop around, and then it goes to where it's going to make a change. So it's just spinal nerve. Okay, then the post-ganglionic sympathetic nerve pathway, okay, it's going to go out. It's going to go out, and instead of going out this spinal nerve, it's going to go, well, it goes out the spinal nerve, and then the spinal nerve goes straight to where it's going to cause a change to occur. Okay, but it's synapsing here. I know, it's confusing. I'm not doing a very good job explaining it. Okay, then there's these splenic nerve pathways, so they're in the abdomen and in the pelvis, right? So it goes out, and then it can come down here, and it synapses. Okay, and then it can also go to the adrenal medulla. Okay, and then it goes out all the way out to here. Now, do they have all those in one picture? Probably here, right? I wonder if I erase this. Let's see. If I erase this, if we can kind of label them. Probably not. I'll probably lose my mind here trying to label them. Okay, so it can, if we do, let's say we're going to the heart. Okay, so we can come out this way and we can go up the sympathetic trunk, and then we'll go out to the heart. So that's one way, right? Another way would be if we go out and we synapse at one of these ganglion and go to the organs. Okay, another way would be we come out and we go to the adrenal gland is another way. And then the next one I'm missing. It's this one. They're saying these splenic nerves is a 4th one. Does that make any sense at all or no?
Yeah,
Not really, huh?
I think it's just so it's the pathway is just based off pretty much where it's going and then where it synapses.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And honestly, I just want you guys to get the idea that it's occurring at many levels. And I don't think at this point that you need to know all of these junctures and all of those pathways and actually understand where all of them are going to. I just want you to have a big picture idea that the information is going out a whole bunch of different ways so that it can get to the organs and cause a change as fast as possible. And the big things that you need to know, right, besides all that, those pathways, I don't think those pathways are the big important thing, right? I think the big important things are what's getting turned on and what's getting turned off. Like what is actually getting stimulated when the sympathetic nervous system is turned on? What is getting turned off when the sympathetic nervous system is turned on? Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so like these kind of things, like this last part, like what's getting turned on, and they have a lot of detail in here, and don't know that you have to know all that detail. Okay, but the idea is that the parasympathetic is going to slow down the heart rate. The sympathetic is going to increase the heart rate. Sympathetic is going to increase the blood pressure. Sympathetic is going to increase respiratory rate. It's going to increase epinephrine and norepinephrine because the adrenal gland is turned on. So I'm really going for big picture stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if you're scared, what happens to the pupil in your eye? It gets really big so you can let a whole bunch of light in so you can see where the bear is so you can run away from it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I know. There's a lot in here about all of the pathways. So like, and I really don't expect you to memorize all those pathways.
Okay.
Yeah. Which maybe that's a cop out, but I don't think you need to know them all.
And I think the only other thing that I had for this chapter was if you could go over which receptors are in which division of the autonomic.
Yeah.
You know, like the parasympathetic has one, and then yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so if you look at this, and this comes into play if you are going into nursing or something, and you're talking about drugs and how drugs are going to affect different cells. So when you look at this is the best picture to summarize it. Okay, so if you look at these preganglionic axons, okay, all of them release acetylcholine. Okay, so that means that they're cholinergic. Okay, so then they can bind to different types of receptors. Okay, so they bind to nicotinic receptors for the most part. Okay, so all of these pre's are going to bind to nicotinic receptors. That's just the way it is. Okay, then the post parasympathetic only releases acetylcholine. Okay, and they can bind to muscarinic receptors. Okay. Now, if you go to the sympathetic, there's more than one thing going on. Okay, because all of these pathways are not going to the same, they're not all working the same way, right? Because we had those 4 separate pathways. Okay, so for example, the one goes to the adrenal medulla. Okay, so the adrenal medulla could release this norepinephrine. Okay, so we might release norepinephrine, or they could release acetylcholine again. Okay, and then different target cells have different receptors. So muscarinic and nicotinic. Oh, wait a minute, I messed that up, didn't I? Because this is going to release norepinephrine, not this one. Whoop, I messed that one up. So hold on. Find the page.
This is why I think this chapter is the hardest.
It's hard. It is hard. It is hard. I agree with you. It's hard. Okay. So
Everyone say bipolar, multibipolar.
the bipolar neurons,
They want bipolar. I know what is bipolar, multibipolar. He has multi.
it can do
Bipolar.
both.
Yeah. Do do I need to make the difference between my bipolar, multi-bipolar?
No, you
Okay.
don't have, nope, you don't have to know that.
Okay.
Okay, so parasympathetic, both of them are going to release acetylcholine. Okay, then sympathetic, acetylcholine, 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 right? And then down here we have acetylcholine, norepinephrine, and then acetylcholine. Okay, well, that's the same one, right? And this is going to the adrenal medulla, but that's going to cause this to release norepinephrine and epinephrine. Okay, so now when we come in here, okay, so maybe we should make a key for the receptors, right? So the different receptors, so nicotinic receptor, maybe that would help. So a nicotinic receptor, right, is going to be for acetylcholine, right? And they are going to be in the adrenal medulla. They're going to be in the skeletal muscle junction, right? And then some neurons. Okay, now it's always going to be excitatory. Okay, so it's always going to turn things on. Okay, so think about your sympathetic nervous system. Okay, and your sympathetic nervous system is like you're trying to turn things on, right? So if it comes down and it binds to this, it's going to send a signal, right? And the signal's going to go out. Okay, so we're trying to get things going. Okay, now muscarinic receptors, all right, they're only in parasympathetic. Okay, and sweat glands. All right, now most of the time they're excitatory, so that means they're going to be turned on. Okay. Okay, so those are down here. So that'll turn on like digestion. All right, this will turn down. No, if they're excitatory, so it's going to make you sweat, right? If you're scared. So that'll turn on the sweat glands. Okay, now adrenergic. Okay, so we got to do the norepinephrine ones. So the adrenergic receptors, this is to me where this gets more confusing, right? So adrenergic receptors, we can have alpha and we can have beta, and then they're subdivided. Okay, so alpha, oh, I don't want you guys to have to know to break them down, right? I don't think you need to know all that. Okay, so alpha, let's say alpha receptors are in the sympathetic nervous system. Okay, and they're excitatory. Okay, beta adrenergic receptors can be in your heart. Okay, they can be in the blood vessels. Okay, and they could be in the bladder and the fat. Okay, now, if they're in the heart, okay, they're excitatory, so they're going to make your heart beat faster. Okay, now, places where you have smooth muscle, they have inhibitory beta receptors. They have a different kind of beta receptor. Okay, so they're going to cause those muscles to relax. Okay, and these, it could be either way. Okay, so now it doesn't make any more sense, does it? Okay, so let's look at it this way. So if you do, and maybe I can make a picture. Okay, so parasympathetic, acetylcholine binds to nicotinic. Okay, and those are always going to be excitatory.
Okay.
All right, so they're always going to make something happen. It's going to go forward. Okay, now muscarinic. So the next step, okay, is it's excitatory. So if something binds to a muscarinic receptor, it's going to stimulate something to happen. Okay, so over here, I always say, we say slud. So salivation, lacrimation, okay, so producing spit, tears, urination, and digestion. Okay, in your parasympathetic nervous system, all of those go up. So those are going to get turned on. Okay, now sweat glands too. Okay, so that gets turned on over here. Okay, now if something releases norepinephrine, okay, this is where it gets messy because the adrenergic receptors have like 5 different types of receptors. Okay, so they have alpha and they have beta. Okay, so alphas are always going to turn things on. Okay, so they're always going to be excitatory. If it binds to a beta, it could get turned on. It depends on the type of beta receptor it is. Okay, so it could get turned on or it could get turned off. Does that help at all?
Yes.
So I should make a chart maybe.
You say urine and digestive goes up.
During para, yep.
Okay.
But in sympathetic, if you're trying to run away from the bear or whatever, right? If it's fight or flight, all that gets turned down because those are not a priority to save you from something.
Okay.
So that's why there's so many different things going on over here. So some places where things are being inhibited, right? It's possible that it's slowing things down or turning them off. So there is a good chart, but it's a huge chart on page 601. And page 601, it says like, what does the sympathetic nervous system do to the heart? What does it do to the blood vessels? Like that's a really nice summary chart. I think that's a good place to look at it. And that's kind of the big picture stuff that I think is important. Yeah, no,
Yes.
okay. And did you see I put a worksheet on there and I posted the answer key. But the idea behind that worksheet was to try to make you write it down and see if you can see patterns. And that goes with I'm not going to collect it or anything, but that's for the autonomic nervous system to try to compare and contrast and get you to see the big picture stuff in that. You don't get hung up on in the little things. Because there's a lot of stuff in here that you could spend a long time learning. And we spend like a week on it.
Yeah.
Oh, I just looked at this picture with this German Shepherd. It looks like it's going to bite the guy's face off.
Oh, in the book.
Yeah, in the book. I was like, it looks like it's going to. Oh. Yeah, so don't get hung up in the details.
Okay. I think that's the only questions I had for
Okay.
that.
All right. So go big picture. And Gigi, I'll email the testing center and I'll change the date. So do you guys think are we okay?
Yeah, I feel pretty okay.
All right. Well, just let me know if you're not.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds
And
good.
I will talk to you guys later. I'll talk to you next week.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Bye.
See ya.